Hey everybody, I'm Melody.
And I'm Anthony. Thanks for joining us. As you might have guessed by the name, this is a show about all things Sony. But it's not an infomercial, and it's not all Sony sunshine. Whether it's electronics, gaming, or entertainment, we're going to take this time to answer some questions you might have had, and even show you some stuff that you've never seen before.
Most importantly, we'll get the chance to take some of the latest gear out for a test spin to see how they perform in the real world. And if you're considering a Sony product, maybe we'll help you do some of your homework, and hopefully you can make some informed decisions on the way.
With that in mind, let's talk digital cameras, specifically this digital camera, the Alpha NEX-5. This is great. It's a compact camera, but it's got a DSLR-sized sensor and interchangeable DSLR-style lenses.
So the NEX-5 is really in a unique category of its own. When we want to think about its physical body size, it's a lot closer to the Sony CyberShot here, but as far as performance goes, it's way more on par to, let's say, this DSLR camera.
People like to compare this camera because it has the interchangeable lenses of a DSLR, but a point-and-shoot style body. They like to compare it to Micro Four Thirds cameras, like this one by Panasonic, or this Olympus over here. You've probably been reading a lot about those. But the NEX is really sort of different than those cameras, because if you look inside of one of these Micro Four Thirds cameras, you see the size of the sensor here. And that's what they're called Micro Four Thirds for. That's a Micro Four Thirds sensor. In here, though, you can see if we hold them up next to each other, this has got the same size sensor as a DSLR. Basically, with a larger sensor size, you get softer backgrounds for better portraits, you get good low light images. You got no built-in flash, you'll notice, on the NEX-5, because in most cases it doesn't need it. I took some pictures, like actually at night, like in the black of night last night at a hill outside my house, and it looks like sunset. Really, really beautiful pictures. So talking about the interchangeable lenses, in addition to the 16mm lens or the 18 to 55mm lens that come with it, if you already have an Alpha camera, you can use your lenses with an adapter, which is great. I mean, the adapter's $200, but if you have a lot of Alpha glass already, dude, that's great, because you can use your entire collection.
And even if you have some old school Minolta lenses laying around, you can use that same adapter and use all of those Minolta lenses on your NEX-5. So that's some good news over there.
Totally awesome. 7 new E-mount lenses are coming out for the NEX in the next 2 years.
7 new lenses.
Yeah, so there's definitely a lot of first-party lens support happening. 4 of them are coming out in the next year, so a lot of stuff is coming soon. There are a bunch of firmware updates coming out soon, which includes something that a lot of users have been asking about on the NEX Flickr group, which is, I put my Alpha lenses on my NEX, and it's great, but it becomes a totally manual lens.
Yeah.
So there's a firmware update coming for the adapter that allows you to use full autofocus with your Alpha lenses. A lot of updates to the UI are coming as well, including the addition of customizable buttons, so you can move the stuff that you use the most around and make it the most accessible features for you, so that's great. Everybody shoots differently. There's aperture control now in movie mode. So huge for things like depth of field, controlling your light levels. It's amazing. We want to be up front here. Right now, it's hard for Mac users to do these firmware updates, but Sony is working on easier ways. For right now, if you've got a Mac, fire up Boot Camp or virtualization software, something like Parallels or VMware. Just run Windows and update the firmware from there. It's actually pretty simple.
And maybe play a game while you're in Windows.
Yeah, a little StarCraft. Why not?
So I've spent a lot of time with the NEX-5, so I'm pretty familiar with the specs now, but I'm still a bit of a camera noob when it comes to taking pictures. I like my point and shoots, they fit in my purse. So what I did was I took the NEX-5 on a photo shoot with a pro photographer from San Francisco. He was curious about the NEX-5 anyway, so we both kind of won in that situation. Check this out. Hey, we're here in San Francisco, right by the harbor, and I'm here with Jeff Sturm, local photographer. Thanks for joining us today.
Sure.
All right, so I've seen your website, and I saw a lot of your photographs. They're gorgeous.
Thank you.
How would you describe your personal style of photography?
I would call it travel and documentary photography. I do a lot of international travel, a lot of just walking the street and seeing what I can find.
What kind of camera do you use?
I use a DSLR with a couple of different lenses, but it's pretty, kind of big.
Yeah, one of those hefty ones.
Yeah.
So I know you've spent a couple days now with the new Sony Alpha NEX-5 camera.
Yes.
What's your overall conclusion? What do you think?
It's small, it's light, it's got a DSLR-sized sensor, which means great pictures, great low light stuff, so far so good.
All right, well, we've got all of San Francisco at our disposal.
Let's go.
Snap some shots. Are you in manual mode right now?
I'm in aperture priority mode, so if you go into the menu, it's got these creative modes, creative style, where you can pick, that was just standard, right? So it's like everything's so blue and white here, so There's also, say, sunset. You know, maybe if you pick sunset, it'll warm it up a little bit. You can see the difference here.
Oh yeah, I see the kind of oranges pop a little more.
Yeah. Nice thing about this screen too is you can like kind of, you know, maybe rest it on something here to keep it steady.
So that helps with the composition?
Well, it also helps with, you know, just getting a sharp picture, and it does help you kind of line things up.
So I'm no pro, but my favorite thing to do on any camera is macro mode, just because it makes me feel like I'm taking a really gorgeous shot. So let's check out what the macro mode looks like on this camera.
Sure. Go to the menu and go to shoot mode. And I've got it on manual right now, but if you go to scenes, there are a bunch of choices here, portrait, landscape, and there's macro, so you just set it to macro. And then you use this handy flip-up screen here.
Ooh.
Get in real tight on these on this grass here, like that. Even with the sun in the background, it seems to not have any trouble with it, and yeah, it looks really good. That's a really nice effect, and really easy to do with that macro mode.
Oh,
There you go.
that's beautiful.
Right?
Okay, this is my favorite part of the camera.
Yeah.
You can do this great sweep panorama mode,
There you
and
go.
in fact, let me show you how it's.
All right, why don't you?
So, how about you help me with the composition here?
Yeah, so
how's that?
you kind of get about half the horizon in there, so you just hold down the shutter and go for it.
Oh, I love that sound. And so now it's doing all the stitching in the camera.
Right, it stitches it together on the fly, and then one really cool thing you can do is you hit play, and you hit play again, and it animates your panorama and
Right,
sweeps
the
through it
full
in
screen.
slow-mo. But you can see the whole thing in as if it were a video.
The NEX-5 will also shoot in full 1080i HD video. So that's the same quality HD video that you're getting like with your broadcast or cable connection. So we're talking really high quality. And all you have to do is press that little red button.
That one that says movie?
The one that says
Okay.
movie.
So let's see. Yep, there you go, and it's recording. Get a little shot of the skyline. And that's it. Easy.
So that's one pro's opinion on the NEX-5, but we still encourage you to do your homework if you're in the market for a new camera. Jeff and I both agree to check out dpreview.com. That's the go-to site for professional photographers. They've got tons of camera reviews and really deep specs and tons of forums, even some dedicated to Sony cameras. If you do decide to go with the NEX-5, you can get one with the 16mm pancake lens for about $650 at sonystyle.com. Or for $700, you can get it with the 18 to 55mm lens. And for $100 less, you can even get the NEX-3. The main difference being that the NEX-3 shoots video in 720p instead of the 1080i on the NEX-5.